It's been a while, hasn't it? What are you doing here all by yourself? As I turned around thinking I recognized the voice, my mother-in-law stood there. Oh, hello. You still haven't had a child? So, you are a defective wife that can't even show me a grandchild. And what's with not showing your face? How cheeky you are. I had lived peacefully for 8 years without seeing my mother-in-law. I wish I could not see her from now on. While thinking about such a thing, I made my stance clear to her. Well, my child is right over there. My name is Mirabelle. I'm a 44-year-old housewife. After graduating from college, I started working as a preschool teacher, spending my days immersed in work. The daycare was a place where lives were entrusted to us, so it carried a lot of responsibility and was tough, but the children's innocent smiles were incredibly healing. During these days filled with passion for my work, my friend introduced me to who would later become my husband, John. He was 25 at the time and worked hard as an elementary school teacher. Apparently, there are few opportunities for romantic encounters as teachers, and since he had been focused on studying to become a teacher during his student days, he doesn't have much experience with romance. Our meeting came about when he sought relationship advice from a friend. As educators who both worked with children, we had a lot in common and hit it off from the first time we met. We were supposed to meet with my friend and John at a cafe, but he got held up at work and was running late, my friend informed me. While waiting at the cafe with my friend, a man suddenly rushed in, breathless. "I'm so sorry, I'm late." "No problem at all. It's work, after all, can't be helped." Well. His reason for being late was that he got caught up talking about novels with the students. He was so engrossed in the conversation. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. And at the same time, I thought he was a teacher who really cares about his students. I was drawn to him in an instant. Anyone who forgets an appointment in favor of valuing conversations with students must be a person with a beautiful heart. I'm sorry for laughing so much when we've just met. But it's a wonderful reason to be a teacher. No. It's me who should apologize for being late. And by an hour, no less. Please, don't mind about it. I was just sitting here, enjoying my coffee, and wanted to get to know you better. Really? Yes. Once I saw your smile, all my nervousness just flew away. That's good to hear. But I'm still a bit nervous. I didn't expect to be introduced to such an attractive woman. Really? John said, a bit embarrassed. I didn't expect him to say something like that. I'm 36, but you look quite young, John. I'm currently 29. You're young. That's a 7-year difference. No, the age gap doesn't matter. What matters is if we can respect each other. Even if we were closer in age, it wouldn't mean anything if that respect wasn't there. He really speaks his mind clearly. True to being a teacher, he knew how to make his point. But his thoughtfulness and consideration were evident, giving me the impression that he was a person of solid character. I found myself increasingly drawn to him, and we both wanted to meet up, just the two of us. He seemed interested in me as well, and we exchanged contact information and started dating. As we met up a few times, it became clear that John was passionate about his work, caring towards others, and, above all, a person who was trusted and respected by his students. John seemed to think highly of me too. Feeling that I would regret it if I didn't express my feelings, despite having met just before, I suggested we start dating with marriage in mind. He accepted, saying he had wanted to ask me out himself, and so we became a couple. About a year into our relationship, he proposed to me. Please let me say the words. Will you spend the rest of your future with me? With that, John handed me a ring. My heart had already decided. I believe I can have a happy marriage with you, John. I look forward to our future together. And so, we decided to get married. We smoothly handled the greetings with each of our parents, met with both families, and held our wedding ceremony. And then our life as newlyweds had just begun. Life with the man I love was filled with joy and happiness. As we planned our marriage, we had serious discussions about our careers and children. He is so wonderful that he respects my life view and passion for my career, and it's clear that he treats me greatly. Having been devoted to my job, I decided to continue working after marriage. We also hope to have children soon, but since that's a gift from above, it's not something we can control on our own, yet we hope and wait with optimism. Having had these thorough discussions as a couple, our married life has been happy with clear communication. Little did we know that dark clouds were looming over our peaceful life. At that time, we had no idea. I'm gonna head out to the bookstore. Looking for some books I can introduce to my students. I'll be back by dinner. Got it. Take care. On a certain holiday. After seeing John off, I was taking a breather in the living room when the doorbell rang. Hello, Mirabelle. Oh. Hello. What brings you here today? Where's John? John just stepped out. Oh, I see. My mother-in-law momentarily showed a look of disappointment but quickly turned to me and started this conversation. It's almost been a year since you got married, hasn't it? Yes, that's right. When are you planning to quit your job? I wasn't planning to quit. What are you talking about? You still don't have any children. What's the point of continuing to work? My mother-in-law said this, staring at me disapprovingly. Well. I was taken aback by such a sudden statement. You're already 36, you know? The age you can have children is limited. It seemed my mother-in-law was eager to press me about having grandchildren. But since childbirth isn't something that can be decided by will alone, I decided to be honest. Of course, I've talked about this with John, and we would love to have children if possible. But it's a blessing. If I get pregnant, I'll let you know right away. When I responded that way, she couldn't hide her impatience and pressed on, this is no time to be laid back. You can't just say someday. I was taken aback by her words and attitude, as she had seemed so calm when we met before we were married. I'm sorry, but this isn't a problem just about me. As I tried to apologize and explain, she got even angrier and barged into the house saying, so what? Is it John's fault? I didn't want her to enter without my permission. Then, from the living room, I heard her shout. What is this machine? I just hit my foot on it. I'm sorry. That's an air purifier. I'm really sensitive to house dust, and it makes me sneeze a lot. So I keep it to clean the air. After I hurriedly explained, she let out a deep sigh. See, that's your problem. You always have an excuse for everything. No, it's not about making excuses, it's just about my body. I think all these excuses are what make you weak. If you want fresh air, just open a window. Well, this apartment is on a busy street, so there's also the concern about exhaust fumes. That's exactly why you can't have kids, always worrying about things like that. My mother-in-law made everything about not being able to have children. And then, incredibly, she said this. You need to whip into shape. Come to my place next week. It's just me since my husband passed, so it won't be a bother. Make sure you come, all right? You know what will happen if you don't, right? It was just a threat. But, unable to dismiss it outright, I ended up visiting her house the next week. When she led me into the living room, a strange smell hit my nose. What's this smell? I asked and puzzled. Then she handed me a drink that looked like tea. If you drink this tea, it's supposed to help you get in good condition to conceive. So drink up. You're supposed to drink 4 cups a day. She said that, shoving a paper bag forcefully into my purse. What are you doing? Drink this tea at home too. It will help you get pregnant. I was dumbfounded by her presumptuous behavior. Later, when she took me out to the yard, I saw a mountain of laundry. What's with all this laundry? There seems to be a lot of children's clothes. These are from an acquaintance's kids. Touching and washing children's items can make it easier to conceive. It's also preparation for when you have kids, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. She said with a laugh, then brought out a large tub and a washboard. Remember, wash with passion. Then the baby will be happy to come to your womb. With that, she left me alone to go back to the living room. In other words, she was telling me to wash all of it. I was speechless, but if I didn't wash them, I risked more unreasonable demands or troubles. Reluctantly, I did as told and washed the children's clothes on the washboard before hanging them to dry. I've finished the laundry. Good. Then come over the day after tomorrow and do the laundry again, just like today. I have work the day after tomorrow. What? You can make time before or after work, can't you? If you really want children, you have to be willing to push yourself a bit. She kept pushing her demands on me. Or is it that you just don't have the determination? Feeling provoked, I decided to do as she said. After finishing my job at the daycare, I went straight to my mother-in-law's house and washed unknown children's laundry by hand in the dark. My hands were rough and chapped from washing in the chilly evening air. Mirabelle, what happened to your hands? John was surprised when he saw my hands. But I hesitated to tell the truth. It seemed like an outdated practice, but for John, she's an important family member, his mother. I carefully chose my words before speaking. Actually, your mom told me that washing children's clothes by hand makes it easier to conceive. So I've been going to her house every other day to do that. When I said that, John looked at me incredulously. Do you think that'll get us a child? I couldn't answer his question. And from my expression, John seemed to understand everything. I'll talk to Mom. You don't have to go anymore. Also, I'm gonna go to the doctor. Pregnancy isn't just a woman's issue, and there might be something on my end. Thank you. But don't push yourself too hard. What are you talking about? It's natural to do this much for Mirabelle. I almost cried at John's words. It's rare to find someone so supportive. But this certainly wouldn't satisfy his mother. Although John warned his mother and I no longer needed to go to her house. One day, a package from his mother arrived. Opening the cardboard box, I found old pregnancy and parenting books and a lengthy letter. The letter was filled with anger towards our actions. I felt bad emotions being treated this way. John, upon seeing it, openly showed his anger. After I said to stop, she's still doing this. He immediately called his mother. Mom is an important family member, but the most important person I should protect is my wife, Mirabelle. If interacting with Mom means hurting Mirabelle, then I need to rethink our relationship. Of course, I don't want to have regrets if something happens to Mom, so I won't cut ties. But we'll only keep minimal contact. That's all we need. John said this calmly yet firmly to his mother. After that, I no longer needed to interact with his mother. The pressure from her stopped, and we've been living peacefully. John prioritizes our life together, but he seems concerned about his mother living alone at home, and it appears he sends her a small amount of money every month. Regarding that, I have no right to complain. Thus, after some time without seeing my mother-in-law and living peaceful days, I found out I was pregnant. Tears of joy streamed down my face. Mirabelle, we did it! Thank you so much! Let's work hard together as parents from now on. Sharing the joy with my husband, we looked forward to our child's birth and spent happy days together. 8 years had passed. One day, I was leisurely enjoying a takeout coffee in the park. Then someone suddenly spoke to me from behind. It's been a while. What are you doing here all alone? Turning around, thinking I recognized the voice, there was my mother-in-law. Oh, hello! She looked at me with disdain and said, Haven't you had a child yet? So, you're still a defective wife that can't even show me a grandchild. Her arrogant attitude hadn't changed at all over the years, and her words soured the taste of the coffee I was enjoying. And what's with not showing your face? How cheeky you are. She continued to belittle me as usual, even making a snide comment about me drinking coffee in the park. Why don't you quit acting like an old lady and hurry up and have a child? Or just bravely leave John? I'll get him remarried to a younger woman and make sure he has children. I had lived peacefully for 8 years without seeing my mother-in-law. I wished I could continue not seeing her. Thinking this, I made my stance clear to her. Actually, our child is right over there. Upon hearing this, my mother-in-law showed a moment of surprise, but then burst into laughter. What are you talking about? I can't believe such a lie. Besides, you're much older than John, right? There's no way you could have a child at your age. Indeed, I am older than John, but I couldn't let her assumption that I couldn't have children go unchallenged. In reality, there are many couples with age differences who have children, even at an older age. I took a deep breath, trying to put my thoughts into words, but my mother-in-law cut me off by raising her finger and glaring at me. That's enough. I seriously want you to leave John. Even after 8 years of estrangement, it seems my mother-in-law really hasn't changed. At that moment, a child, looking worried, looked at us from a distance and then ran over. I felt terribly guilty for involving the child in such a situation. Mom, are you okay? Who is this old lady? The child asked me. The girl who ran up to me is Sarah, my and John's daughter. I hesitated whether to tell Sarah the truth. The mother-in-law is her grandmother, and I wasn't sure if it was right to keep away from her because of my personal feelings. However, my mother-in-law believed that we really had a child when she saw Sarah calling me mom and approaching. She looked at Sarah with moved eyes. Then Sarah also stared at the mother-in-law. But then, with a startled look, she said, "Oh, that's the angry old lady from the convenience store." My mother-in-law ignored my daughter's comment and tried to reach out to her with trembling hands. But Sarah showed a puzzled expression and stepped back. Well, that's to be expected. For my daughter, a strange old woman was suddenly trying to touch her. I took my daughter's hand, protecting her from my mother-in-law, and asked her, "Sarah, do you always see this person at the convenience store?" "Yeah, I often buy snacks and juice there with my friends on the way to tennis club, and she's always yelling at the cashiers." My mother-in-law's face turned pale at my daughter's words. "Is that true?" "I don't know. It must be someone else." "It's not someone else. It's her. She's always shouting at the staff." I looked at my mother-in-law skeptically. She awkwardly averted her gaze. Surely, what my daughter said was true. Then, my husband arrived at the park. Sorry. I found an interesting novel at the bookstore and got delayed." "Wait, Mom? John, you had a grandchild and why didn't you tell me?" My mother-in-law confronted him upon seeing him. However, my husband calmly retorted to his mother. "I said we're only doing the bare minimum of interaction, right? And I also told you not to contact Mirabelle, didn't I? So why are you here?" My mother-in-law was flustered by her son's cold words. "I just happened to see her in the park. But keeping the child a secret is terrible, isn't it? You knew how much I wanted a grandchild." "I haven't forgiven you for deeply hurting Mirabelle. You're important as a mother, but I don't want you involved in my family. I've drawn a line there." My mother-in-law's face turned pale at my husband's words. I felt truly lovely to my husband who stood up for me like that. Then I got back to the topic. "About the incident that you're always yelling at the convenience store cashiers. It might cause trouble for my family, and it's just sad for the staff, so could you please stop?" What's this about?" John also joined the conversation with a stern look. As I explained the situation, John's expression turned grim. "Mom, what are you doing? I'm embarrassed to have a mother who behaves like that." "It's different. The staff at that convenience store just don't have proper training." "I can't believe what you're saying, Mom. We're going to the convenience store right now, and you're going to apologize." But..." My husband said this and forcibly took his mother to the convenience store. It's too much trouble for the shop with a large group, so my daughter and I stayed in the park. And after a few minutes, my husband returned with his mother. It was the worst. Mom was demanding a refund, claiming she was sold a defective product. Is that true? My mother-in-law looked down in shame and embarrassment. Are you having financial troubles? When I asked her that, she suddenly looked up and began to cry desperately. That's right. I can't make it on my own. John, Mirabelle, please lend me some money. Both my husband and I were surprised by my mother-in-law's sudden attitude. Wait a minute, Mom. Haven't I been sending about $600 a month? That should cover food expenses if you're living alone. That kind of money isn't enough for living. I need at least $2,000 a month in support. No way, that's unreasonable. Then I remembered something. I recalled that my mother-in-law's house was filled with expensive brand items. You had a lot of brand items, didn't you? Are you still buying those things, even going into debt for them? My mother-in-law flinched at my words. Her reaction was incredibly telling. I see. You could buy those with Dad's inheritance before, but now you've run out and are in debt. That changes things. As a son, I'll continue to send $600 a month as support. But I won't help with the debt repayment. You'll have to cover that from your pension or by working. And please stop causing scenes at the convenience store. If you do it again, I've told the store manager they can call the police. Please, don't push me into a corner like this. You put yourself in this situation, Mom. Please be aware of that and reflect on it. We're going to leave now. With that, my husband took my hand and our daughters, and we started walking away. My mother-in-law slumped on the bench, looking like it was the end of the world for her. After that, we no longer saw my mother-in-law. Being spoken to like that by her own son must have shocked her. Later, we heard that she sold her house to pay off her debts and now lives alone in a small apartment, quietly. I just hope she doesn't get into debt or trouble again. Meanwhile, my daughter, husband, and I are enjoying peaceful and happy days. We want to live happily as a family and create many more memories together. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked it, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.